Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. A lot of people keep asking me that where do you get such stunning imagery for your presentations? Because when you are using this sort of imagery, you're actually using PowerPoint as a visual storytelling tool and not just slides. So today in this session, we are going to learn how to choose imagery, what are the websites that you can actually use to download free as well as paid images. So without any further ado, let's begin. So let's look at a couple of examples. Let's say I'm talking about creativity. So creativity does not necessarily mean that showing a colorful brain or showing that left side, left brain and right brain. That is just one way. You can show creativity using these pictures as well. These are creative enough, and these are really beautiful looking pictures in terms of the colors, the clarity, the proposition of the picture. Everything looks very very nice. Now, when we talk about teamwork, for example, teamwork necessarily do not mean people holding hand. It does not mean people always standing in a huddle. It does not mean people, just standing together with their hands on the shoulder. You can show teamwork in an interesting manner and in an organic manner as well. Like, for example, this is also teamwork. And if you look at this image, this does not look something that has been created or staged, even if this might would have been staged, but it's shown in a very organic manner. These people who are sitting there, they do not look like models. They look like real humans who are sitting in an office, and they're not posing for the picture. It looks very organic, like a scenario that you can see in any office, right? So try to use images which people can relate to. That's very important. And in fact, if you see in last couple of years, people insist on using images of Indians because that's something that you can relate to, right? If we talk about teamwork, we can use an image like this. Why do we have to have faces in the image or hands in the image holding each other, etc.? Try to experiment, use different sort of images, try to use unique images. Like this, I think this conveys teamwork, right? Now let me show you a couple of more examples. Now, when we talk about human faces, again, stop using images where people are staring into the camera, doing a thumbs up, smiling, doing all of that. Those images look really made up and again, very, very unnatural. So try to use real people, you can connect with yourself. Because I think if you are able to connect with the image that you're using, your audience will be able to connect with them. So images like these, look at the composition, the clarity, the colors. I think it's beautiful the way these images are clicked. Now, if I have to talk about teamwork again, I'm just taking that example. Look at this one, the right one, or the extreme left. These two things can also suggest teamwork. This one can also suggest teamwork. If I talk about, let's say, vision for my company, this image at the bottom can talk about the vision of your company. So we need not use the slides or the images that we have been using since last 5 years or 10 years. We can surely experiment, and it's this is all about the way you look at your presentation. Because if you think that you will be able to connect to these images, your audience will understand that overall, the aura and the vibe. Look at the clarity of the images, the composition, the colors, everything looks so beautiful. And again, these do not look inorganic images. Human faces, relatable faces, very very important. If you're showing a family, show a family that looks real rather than a family that looks perfect, like with manicured models and properly model with makeup on, etc. Use human images which are real and organic. If you have to show, let's say, brief session, like you can say that time for a brief event brief, or your let's say project brief or debriefing, you could use an image like this. Looks perfectly real with different people sitting on a table and working. This looks like scenario out of any office, right? Look at this again, clarity, the beauty of the image. You can go for thematic images as well. You don't need to stick to one sort of images. Experiment with them. Especially now, since we have access to so many websites, I think it's time that we experiment with images and try to get out of that box that we have created for ourselves, where we either use clip art or we use the most cliched images or we use stock images. When we talk about vision for your company or where you see your company 5 years down the lane, you could use something like that, right? Again, just the way images are clicked, and on these websites, it's just out of the world. I'm just showing you images to show you what I'm talking about when I say unique images or organic images. And now these are a couple of slides that I have used in my different presentations. I wanted to show you as to how I have used a couple of references of images. And I also want you to focus a bit on other elements, like, for example, this text. So this text font is something I downloaded specifically for this slide. This slide is actually from my own portfolio, which talks about that presentation is not a tool to just dump data. It's a tool to convey your story artistically. So look at how beautiful this image is doing justice to what I'm saying. And I have not created anything over here. I just downloaded this image as is, and I just put my text over here. All I've done is to choose colors for my text. I have used eyedropper. I've taken the blue color from here, and I've taken this pink color from here to create that beautiful contrast and complement, in terms of the color. So notice those things since you've already learned it. So try to see layouts, try to see the fonts, the shapes, all of that. Now, for example, when we talk about teamwork, so I understand that in each presentation you cannot use a picture like this, but if your audience and if your presentation allows, I think you should use experimental images as well. This could be teamwork, and I think ants represent teamwork in the best possible way. You do not need corporate people holding hand and shaking hands and doing huddle, etc. That's really not required. If you talk about teamwork, why can't this be teamwork? I think nobody does a better job when we talk about teamwork than the pit crew team. The way they assemble everything and the way they do everything together, it's a beautiful example of teamwork. So think about, even, it's not just about putting it in the presentation. Think about that how you can think differently. And another way of doing this is, what are the keywords that you actually put on Google or whichever website that you use. So for example, if I want a picture for teamwork, and if I'm going to type teamwork over there as is, obviously I'm going to get images of corporate people and all that jazz. But if you think through that, okay, what all elements or what all people or what all things or situations actually talk about teamwork, and if you type that specific thing, you are going to get something really really unique. So this is something that I thought about, that okay, maybe F1 team could talk about this thing, or those boat races that happen in Kerala where they're like huge boats. Those things talk about teamwork as well. So it's just about the perspective. Think differently, and you will get different results when it comes to images. All right. Now, there are times when you get image as is that you can use in a PPT, and there are times when you have to play with images. For example, if you look at this slide, this says, now let's take a look at India's health report. So I did not get this slide like this because this looks really perfect. What I did was I thought through actually how I want to represent this. I got this image, which is, I'm just resetting the image. This is the image that I got, and I thought that why don't I put it in a lens, which I downloaded again, because I think this perfectly defines that, okay, now looking at India's health report through the lens. So it creates much more impact on the audience than just this image of India's map on the medicines. So again, it's not just about how images come on the slide, it's about the thought process that you put into before searching for it, before you put them on the slides. So that's really, really important. Now, if you look at this slide, it talks about 37% of our young population is losing touch with their emotional side due to over dependence on technology. Now, it's a very, very precise and complicated thing to look for picture. But now, when you look at this picture, I think, can you see that how beautifully this picture defines what I'm trying to say through the text? So that's something that you have to create, that even if the person has not read the text properly, they should be able to understand the point that you're trying to make through the image itself. That is how powerful images should be. That's how the images should be used in any presentation, especially when we talk about concept slides, thematic slides, full picture slides. It's really really important. This is something that I use for documentaries, or this is something that I use for fiction. So again, this is not the first image that I got and I used. So experiment. Even if you want to use Google, experiment and go see multiple pages. Do not stop at the first page. Do not stop at second page. Try to go up till 10th page. Now these are a couple of websites that I used for images. The maximum use that I do is Pixels is basically one website that I use the most. Unsplash is another. 500px does not give you free images, but what I do is if I particularly like some image in 500px, I make it full screen and I copy it. You cannot download it for free, but even if you copy the image and use it as full picture for presentation, most of the images work. So these are, and Pixabay is another beautiful website that you could use for images. So these are a few websites that I personally use, and I think this is something that you can experiment with and see which one works for you. But this is a screenshot that I think you should keep handy with you. You can take a picture from your mobile as well. That next time when you have to find images, you do not open Google and you try experiment with these. All right. So I hope that you enjoyed this session of images. Please keep these things in mind, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching this one, like, share and please subscribe to my channel. I'll be making a lot more videos covering many more topics on various tricks, tools and hacks that can save your time and also make your presentation look fabulous. If you want me to make video on any particular topic in PowerPoint, do write in the comment box and I will surely make that video.